right, it looks to me like everyone has been able to connect with their audio. And so we are going to go ahead and get started, and anyone else joins us along the way, we'll let them in. So this is the School of Social Work Welcome webinar for international MSW students. So first of all, congratulations on being accepted to the program and deciding to join us in Ann Arbor this coming fall. We're excited to spend about the next hour or so with you. Greta, if you want to go to the next slide, we'll start with introductions. So there are three of us that'll be presenting the webinar this morning, and so we will go ahead and introduce ourselves. My name is Dr. Katie Lopez. I'm the director of our Office of Global Activities and a clinical adjunct assistant faculty member here at the School of Social Work, and I use she, her pronouns. Greta, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. My name is Greta Kemp. I also use she, her pronouns, and I'm a coordinator in the Office of Global Activities working with Katie. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Hello, everyone. My name is Francisca, and I am a student intern at the Office of Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion, and I am a project director over there. So yeah, it's good to see you all.
Great. Well, next, just a little bit of session housekeeping. All participants are currently muted. And if you do have questions along the way, we do encourage you to use the chat feature. So you don't have to wait until the end. We will have a question and answer portion at the end. But if you have a question that comes up to something that's being presented at the time or something totally unrelated, go ahead and throw it in the chat box. We may be able to answer it for you live, or we may wait to answer that question at the end. I do want to let you know that the presentation is being recorded today because while there's actually many of you that are online with us, we know with time zone differences and other commitments that not everyone may be able to join us in real time today. So we are recording the presentation. That also will be helpful for you if you want to go back later. We'll be sharing the recording and also the slides. So there are lots of things that are linked. And so once the recording is all set, it'll probably be sometime next week. We'll send a follow-up email with the recording, the slides, and other information that we discussed today. So you can feel free to take notes if you want, but also know you'll have access to the information when we're finished. In terms of our agenda today, we're going to talk a bit about the timeline. So we just hit June. You're going to start classes at the end. I guess you'll start orientation at the end of August and then classes in September. So we'll talk about what will be happening between then and now. I'll also talk a little bit about academics and financial aid. And then I'll turn it over to Greta and Francisca to talk about arrival logistics, life in Ann Arbor. And then at the end, there will be an opportunity for everyone that wants to introduce themselves so you can start to get to know some of your fellow classmates. And then at the end, it'll be question and answer. We anticipate the webinar will probably take about an hour of presentation, and then we will be available for the next half hour for questions if people have them. And if not, then we may end a bit early. So timeline between then and now, what do you need to be doing? Most importantly, please make sure that you're reviewing your U of M email so that you're getting important information. This week in particular, once June hits, the Office of Student Services and Enrollment Management will be sending out more information to you. And so it is important that you are using your U of M email. So right now they might be emailing you at both email addresses, but the expectation going forward is that you are in the habit of checking your University of Michigan email. All summer long, you'll get more information about this, but there is the possibility to submit exemptions. If you think that you have already covered some of the course content in some of our required courses, maybe you've already taken a research or statistics course, you might be able to be exempt from one of the courses that we offer. And so there's a process. You don't have that information yet, but you'll be getting it. And that's something you can be doing over the summer. We've also linked here to admitted students material and orientation toolkit. And so this is a really helpful link where there's lots of information set up that you can preview ahead of time. And that's information you can start exploring now. And so if you haven't spent any time looking at those admitted student materials or the orientation toolkit, we recommend you do that. We're also going to talk about this a bit more in a coming up slide, but there is a course planning webinar that will be happening on June 12th from 3 to 4 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. So if that isn't at a great time, wherever it is that you are currently living, it will also be recorded like this, and you will be able to review it. It's highly important that students review that, either attend the webinar or that they review it after it has been posted, because it will answer many of your probably really pressing questions about what does registration look like, how will that all happen. And so we would encourage you to mark that, save that date now, and to register for the webinar, which you can do through the link here, or to review it once it has been, the recording has been posted. There are also some optional activities you can participate in. So we do have an English Language Institute, or ELI, that's on campus. They offer a totally optional online pre-arrival course for helping you prepare for graduate success. And so if you're interested in that, you can get more information at the link provided. But the ELI course helps prepare you, talking about things like language, culture, community at U of M, and it helps you kind of just get a jump start on being prepared to join the U of M community. I think it's either later this week or next week, you will get information about registering for classes. And at that time, you will get a registration appointment, and registration will happen in July. So I know there's lots of students that are anxious and wanting to get into their courses. That information is coming, and registration will happen in July. We also have an international center on campus. So many of you are probably working with our international center to get your visa, if your visa is sponsored by U of M. And so you're probably already getting emails from them, but they do offer a very comprehensive summer orientation. Again, optional, but they cover all kinds of sessions, from banking in the US to do you want to get a car or a driver's license, to how do you make friends in the US? What is US classroom expectations like? And so typically it's about 3 weeks worth of time that they offer their orientation sessions, and many of the sessions repeat. So if you don't get to go to a session the first week that it's offered, it's very likely offered again a second time. So both the ELI online pre-departure, or the pre-arrival course, and the International Center's summer orientation are optional activities that you can choose to engage in. And then on August 26th, that's not optional anymore. Orientation starts, and we will have our international student orientation. So Greta and I, as well as some other students from our office and the Office of Student Services, will be putting on that one-day orientation that's very specific to just international students. So today is kind of a time to get together virtually, but on the 26th, we'll be in person together for the international student orientation. And then for the rest of that week, Tuesday through Thursday, or the 27th through the 30th, is our School of Social Work orientation for all incoming MSW students. And so we call that week Seed Week, or Seed Orientation. And SEED stands for Share, Explore, Engage, and Discover. And so that week is to prepare all incoming MSW students for the program. And then on September 3rd, classes start. So that's what things will look like between then and now. As I mentioned, there's lots of pre-arrival resources that you can take a look at. So again, admitted student resources, important information for incoming students. And then we do have a School of Social Work page that's specific to international students. And so again, you will get the slide deck here with all of these links, and these are things that you can be exploring before you start come August. So next, as I mentioned, is the course planning webinar. So I've gotten questions from incoming students about when do we get to pick our classes, and how do we do that, and what does it look like, and what will my schedule be? The course planning webinar is really the place where you'll get all of that information. So please save the date for it, and or plan to check out the recording if you're not able to be there. It will answer many of your questions for registration. And then if you have further questions after that, our Office of Student Services, which is our admissions office that you've already been in communication with, is available to answer questions specific to your enrollment situation. So please plan on that. And then typically everyone is given a time and date. They're staggered, so everyone's not in the system at the same time crashing it. And so that you will get a registration time and date that will likely be sometime in July. So all of this is up yet to come. academic platforms. So I already mentioned if you aren't using your U of M email account, it's time to do so. So we've got the link to that. You can, some students have been able to forward other email addresses to U of M or vice versa. So you can check emails in one spot, but that is a main communication mechanism that the school will use. We also have a system that's called Wolverine Access. So everything at University of Michigan is M something or blue something or Wolverine something. So Wolverine Access is kind of an information hub that's a place where you will use throughout your time in the program. It's where registration happens. It's where you'll get information about financial aid and accept or decline those awards. Where your class schedule will be. If you end up having a campus job, that's where you might fill out your time cards or get your paychecks. And so Wolverine Access is another information hub that you'll become familiar with and utilize multiple times as your time here as a student. And finally, we also use a course management system called Canvas. So it's kind of the equivalent of Blackboard or any of those kind of course management systems that you might have used at other institutions. So Greta, if you go to the next slide, this is what Canvas looks like. And all of our School of Social Work classes have a Canvas website where faculty members might be posting readings that you'll be using, or it would be the place where you would submit grades, or I mean, where you'd submit your assignments and where you could view your grades. It would be a place where there might be a class discussion board post that you're participating in. And so if you haven't used Canvas before, we do have a orientation kind of course for that. So on the next slide, you will be able to get a Canvas course link. Again, using your University of Michigan login, you'll be able to log in there and it gives you an overview of some of the things related to US social work history and other things. And so if you haven't used a course management system before, or haven't used Canvas specifically, this is something that you might want to take a look at to familiarize yourself, because I think probably 90% of the courses have a Canvas site, if not all of them. So again, with registration for classes, I think we've mostly covered this. You will be given a specific date and time. Everyone's worried they want the earliest date and time for registration, but they do have to be staggered. As incoming students, especially if you do not have a BSW degree or you're not in our master track certificate, you are taking what are called our essential courses, and there are numerous sections of each one of those courses available because all incoming students, 400 and some of you, need to be taking those classes. So if you're worried about that, please know that the registrar's office and our MSW directors plan for the number of students coming in to make sure there are enough sections. But there is also a way for you to petition for courses that are closed. So there may be multiple sections of a particular course, but given your schedule or preference, you are really hoping for the Wednesday night class. If that class is closed, there is a way to fill out what's called a closed course petition that'll then be reviewed by our MSW director for you to get into classes. So I know that registration feels like something that's pending that students are really interested in, having done sooner rather than later. My number one recommendation would be is to try and register at your scheduled registration time. That being said, depending on where you're living in the time zone, we know that it may be not a reasonable time for you to register. So if it is, 3 a.m. is the time where you are, it would be completely fine to wait until 7 a.m. to register. But I wouldn't recommend that you wait a day or two to register. I would make sure that by the time your registration appointment has come up, you've taken a look at the classes, you've put the classes that you're interested in into what's called a backpack. That's kind of the holding place for the courses that you're interested in, so that you are ready when registration comes. It's not a good idea to, if my registration appointment is July 5th at 5 p.m. to start looking at 4:55 p.m. to see what classes I want to take. You should be doing that work in advance. And finally, students that have a question about academic advisors. You will be assigned, every student gets an academic advisor. But our faculty typically have 9-month appointments and work September through May. And so many of them are off during the spring, summer semester. And so during the summer, the Office of Student Services and Enrollment Management is the one that handles advising questions. And then come August, you will be assigned a faculty advisor that you can reach out to at that point. So kind of your first semester of registration, any advising questions that you have comes to the registration to our Office of Student Services, that is our admissions team. So I'm going to quickly just talk about the general schedule for students in the program to make sure that you understand what that looks like. So there are kind of 4 main curriculum tracks in our program. Our biggest curriculum track is what's called the 16-month schedule. This is for students who do not have any prior BSW coursework. They don't have a bachelor's in social work degree, so they're here for 4 semesters. And you can see we've put how many credits you'll be taking each semester and about how many courses that's equivalent to. So during your first fall semester, you are not taking any field placement requirements. You're not doing your social work internship. You're only taking classes. And then during your final 3 semesters, you're doing a mix of coursework. So you're typically taking 3 or 4 courses, and then you're in field 2 or 3 days per week during that time. So the 16-month students start with classes only, and then their final 3 semesters are doing a mix of coursework and field work. Your first semester of doing field work, you're in field about 2 days a week. And then during your last 3 semesters, you're in field about 3 days a week. So that schedule does bump up. And so that's your kind of practical learning of what social work is like in practice under a licensed social work supervisor. So the next curriculum track is the 20-month track. These students are here for a fall semester and a winter semester, but then are not enrolled in classes during the spring, summer. So there's a break. And then you come back for another fall and winter semester. And so this allows, some students are in this track as international students because they hope to go home over the spring, summer semester, or have other things that they're doing during that time. Similarly, your first semester is only coursework. And then similarly, the last 3 semesters are a mix of coursework and field, with field going up from 2 days a week in the winter semester to 3 days a week in the fall and winter terms. So very similar in terms of the mix of class and field, just that there's a break during that spring, summer semester. So our 16-month students graduate in December, where our 20-month students graduate in April. So next is our advanced standing schedule. If you already have an accredited BSW degree, then you only are in our program for 3 semesters because you've done some of the starting social work coursework in your BSW degree, which means that you are doing a mix of coursework and field work throughout your time in the MSW program. And so it is more evenly split in terms of the number of credits of class that you're taking. And then each of the 3 semesters, you would be in field 2 days a week. So these students would start in our fall semester, and then they would graduate in August after 3 terms. And finally, we have a master track certificate. And so some of you may be in this program where you're already doing the first semester of coursework online. It's super important if you're in this master track that you make sure to finish all of that coursework by the prescribed due date that you've been given. If you aren't able to finish it by that time, you will have to revert to a 4-semester track. I think sometimes students think, well, there's maybe a little bit of wiggle room, or I can be a little late on completing it. You can't. You do have to finish all that coursework because otherwise you won't be ready to start your advanced coursework. So similar to the advanced standing students, you are doing a mix of class and field throughout your time in the program. Your field schedule starts 2 days a week, and then your final 3 semesters goes up to 3 days a week because you have a little bit more of a field placement requirement than students that already have a BSW that did some field work during their bachelor's degree. So as I mentioned, field is a really important part of your MSW program too. So your field placement or internship is about a quarter of the credits that you will receive in the MSW program. And so there was a webinar that was done either back in April or early May, the field placement webinar that you should, if you weren't able to attend, you should make sure that you watch that. Again, it will answer many of your questions about field. There is an incoming field student website, and there is specific information about international students on that. And I think the biggest piece of advice I can give you is to make sure that you're communicating with the Office of Field Education about any questions that you have related to field. If you are an advanced standing student or a master track student, you should have already applied for your field placement. And so those applications were due last week. If you're in that track and you haven't submitted your field application, please make sure to reach out to the field office right away because you want to make sure that you are not behind in being placed for your fall starting internship. If you're in the 16-month or 20-month program, you won't be starting field until January. And so you'll get information in September and October about applying for field. You will not apply before you start the program. An important note about field for international students is you are required to obtain something that's called curricular practical training or CPT authorization to do a field placement or internship. So all MSW students that are on an F1 visa have to go through this process, but it's something that the field office helps coordinate for you. So basically each semester, so not just once, even though you'll be in the same field site for 3 semesters, each semester you have to go through this process. There's paperwork you'll have to submit to the International Center to make sure that you have CPT authorization before you can start your field hours. There's no fee that's involved, but there is the need to timely submit paperwork to the International Center to get that process done. So again, that's another reason why we want to make sure that you are applying for your fall field placement. If you haven't done so yet, it's really critical that you reach out to our field instruction office right away about that. And if you start field in January, again, if you're a 16-month student or a 20-month student, you don't need to worry about this yet. Your process will start in September, October. All right, my final part here is just talking a bit about financial aid. So I think this can be a tricky question for international students. What do I qualify for? What do I not qualify for in terms of aid? So the School of Social Work offers some merit-based scholarship aid. This was something that you would have been reviewed for as a part of your MSW application. So there wasn't an additional application that you had to do, but merit-based scholarships you are eligible for. There are also some special programs or special scholarships that students would have applied for at their MSW. You're also eligible for those, as well as we do have some donor-funded scholarships. So we have some donors, many of them alumni, who have contributed money for particular reasons to the school, and international students are welcome to apply for those donor-funded scholarships, and you'll get more information about that in the fall. And finally, our Campus International Center does have an emergency fund. So if something unexpected happens in your time here at University of Michigan and you have a large unexpected expense, the International Center is a place where there's emergency funding that's available specifically only to MSW students. And so that's a great resource. If something unexpected comes up, that's money that isn't for all students, it's specifically for international students. Now, there are some types of aid that you are not eligible for. So need-based financial aid, which is U.S. Federal government or Michigan state aid, you are not eligible for that aid as those are restrictions by the U.S. federal government or by the state of the Michigan, that those are for U.S. residents only. So you couldn't apply for need-based aid. There are some Michigan scholarship and opportunity grants, which are need-based awards. And again, those are ones that as international students, you're not eligible for. And then I think maybe there's only like 1 or 2 donor-funded scholarships that for some reason do have a citizenship requirement, U.S. citizenship requirement, but the majority of those donor-funded scholarships you would be eligible for unless otherwise indicated. So I think it's important to just have a sense of what type of aid you are eligible for and aren't. And so to help you with that, we do have the School of Social Work's International Student Financial Aid website. There is the general MSW scholarship where the donor-funded scholars are listed, and these other kind of sources of information for you. So if you do have financial aid questions, don't hesitate to reach out. Our Office of Student Services has a couple of folks that are specifically focused on helping students navigate financial aid questions. And so these are resources for you, as well as our staff and the Office of Student Services. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to Greta.
Yeah, so yeah. So yeah, welcome to the School of Social Work at the University of Michigan. This is a five-level building, which is situated on the corners of the South and the East University Avenue of U of M's Central Campus. And once you enter from the street's main entrance, you will enter on the first main level. The building has a lower level, as you can see from the pictures, and as well as like the second and third and the fourth level where you can find different classrooms and the office spaces such as the Global Activities Office, the Field Office, the Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion Office. Also, there are some features of the building that I think are key things that you need to know. The building has like classrooms and learning spaces where we take our classes. All the social work classes happen within those places. There are technologies which students use for like their presentations, teachers use for every aspect of interactive learning experiences. There are also social spaces within the building, which includes common areas where students can relax and socialize and have fun with their friends. There are office and meeting rooms within the building. There are service and resource areas where students can go to seek academic advising and everything else, career services that their students need. I think the basement area is my favorite place to go, which has like very good lighting to take good pictures. So, which also features like a good place to just study rooms and things like that, where you can make reservations and go and study. So, yeah. Also, yeah, one essential item that you will be getting as students, as new students, is your M card, which is an official University of Michigan ID card. It is a multi-purpose card which serves several uses. And so the link over there will lead you to the website of where you can get instruction on how to submit a photo to have your M card created. With this M card, you can have access to the University of Michigan building, which is the School of Social Work building, sorry. And then you can also have access to the library, and you can have access to dining and meal plans if you have access to dining halls as part of like your tuition stuff. And with the M card, you can have access to bus pass. So you can use the ride and other buses, which Greta will talk about later. And also with the bus pass, you can get it for free if you have your M card. And so with the M card, again, you can also attend athletic events, but that will also depend on the kind of tickets you get for these types of sports events. And with the M card, you can get access to printing services on campus and also used for I think you have a limited amount of printing you can do with your M card. You can also have like campus partnerships, which offers like discounts on certain products in the school books and access to things. So I will advise that if you ever lose your M card, you should report it immediately and obtain a replacement to ensure your security and access to continuous services. And also, it will be good if you can take pictures of your M card and keep it on your phone. So that way, if you lose your M card, you can still have access to bus rides before you replace your M card.
Thanks so much, Francisca. So, like Francisca mentioned, one of the benefits of having an M card, once you get your university ID, you'll have access to transportation. So we'll talk about that within Ann Arbor in a minute. But first, we want to make sure that you all know how you are going to get to Ann Arbor in the first place. And we're really looking forward to welcoming you in the fall. So the nearest airport to Ann Arbor is the Detroit Metropolitan Airport, or the code is DTW. And it's about 35 or 40 minutes by car or bus away from Ann Arbor. There's a couple different transportation options you have if you're flying into DTW. One is called the Michigan Flyer, and this is a bus, which you can see in the picture there. The Michigan Flyer is a bus that goes between the airport and Ann Arbor. It also goes to a couple of other places in Michigan, but you can book tickets ahead of time and you can book them online. So it's really easy to access if you're planning your flight and planning your transportation and want to use public transportation. Tickets cost about $15, and the bus runs every hour or two, sort of during the day, depending on if it's a weekday or a weekend. It doesn't run late at night or in sort of the midnight hours, early in the morning, but it's something to look into as a really affordable option. It does have a lot of space under the bus, just like any big sort of charter bus does, for luggage and things like that. So you are welcome to bring, several suitcases if that's what you're bringing with you. But it's a good option. It's the option that I use a lot when I'm going to and from the airport. We also have Uber and Lyft rideshare companies, as well as taxis that go between the DTW airport in Ann Arbor. Those are more expensive than public transportation, of course, but they are ready options for you. And then we encourage you to use your networks as well. So thinking about if you know people in town, if you are connected with other students or even other international students who might be arriving at the same time, and reaching out to find out if there's someone who can come pick you up is really the easiest way to get back from the airport. And so that is a good way to go as well. So once you get into Ann Arbor, we do have several transportation options within town as well. If you come from a big city, you will find that our transportation infrastructure is not maybe as developed as the place that you come from. We do not have a subway or metro or anything like that, but we do have two different bus systems that can get you to most parts of Ann Arbor with relative ease. So the first is called the UM Blue buses. They're commonly known as blue buses. They're this sort of dark blue bus with the yellow stripe that says Michigan on it and the top picture here. This is a free bus. You don't need to show any ID to get there. And it really is the bus that connects our different campuses. So as Francisca talked about, the School of Social Work is situated on what we call our central campus. But we also have a north campus to the University of Michigan, a south athletic campus, and also a medical campus as well. And so the blue buses have different routes that run between the sort of central points of each of these campuses. There's a link to the routes as well. The next transportation option of public transportation is commonly known as the ride. It's also known as the Ann Arbor City buses. These generally people have to pay for, but once you have your M card, once you have your identification card, that will be free. And so like Francisca talked about, there's just a barcode on the back and you swipe it when you go on the bus and your bus ride is free. It's not something that you need to load money on or anything like that. It's just free of cost for students who are using their M card. These buses run all through Ann Arbor, as well as to the neighboring town of Ypsilanti, which is just a few miles down the road. And so there's a sort of central hub in downtown Ann Arbor, about a 15-minute walk from the School of Social Work. And there's also a central hub or bus depot in the town of Ypsilanti, a few miles away. And then bus routes generally go out from those central hubs or those bus depots to all different parts of town. We also have a bus called the D2A2, which is the Detroit to Ann Arbor bus. And so this is new as of a couple years ago, but it is a bus that runs from downtown Ann Arbor to a point in downtown Detroit that some students have found helpful, especially to get to their field placements if their field placements are located in Detroit, and also just for social events or travel to Detroit. Detroit's about 45 minutes to an hour away by car or bus, depending on what part you're going to from Ann Arbor, and is a really wonderful city to explore. And so that is a easy and relatively inexpensive way to get to a nearby big city as well. Again, we have Uber, Lyft, and Taxi that run within Ann Arbor. Just as a note, we don't have any street taxi services in Ann Arbor, so we don't have taxis that are just sort of on the street that you can hail. But there are taxi services that you can call and reserve rides in advance, as well as using Uber and Lyft on your phone. And then some students have found it really helpful to use car rentals in Ann Arbor for going to get groceries or for getting to field placements or things like that. We have a car rental called Zip Car, which is something you would buy a membership to, and then there are Zip Cars located around town in designated parking spots, and you can sign up to use a car when you need it. So it's not a ongoing car rental necessarily, it's a membership, and then you use a car when you need it. We also have Enterprise, which is a more traditional car rental agency within Ann Arbor that you would, sign up to rent a car for a designated period of time and then return it to the car rental agency. There's a link on the bottom when you receive the slides. There's a lot more transportation information on the International Center website as well if you have questions about what's right for you in terms of using public or shared transportation. Some students also choose to buy or rent a car for a long-term, lease a car when they arrive to Ann Arbor. That is definitely an option, but one big consideration you'll have in that case is parking. We do have limited parking on campus, and so I just wanted to talk through some considerations for parking if you are thinking about having a car or owning a car while you're here. So one really great option for getting to campus from wherever your housing might be is our commuter, parking lots. So these are large parking lots that are intended for if you are coming to campus, where parking tends to be very difficult because it's quite congested. A little bit outside of campus, there will be a large parking lot. You can park your car there, and then buses come to that parking lot with a great deal of frequency. And so you would park there and take the bus for a short bus ride into campus. That's a really easy and convenient way to get to campus, especially if you're living a little bit outside of campus. It's free to park in the commuter parking lots. And so that's a really cost-effective way to use a car to get most of the way in and have pretty easy access to your car once you leave campus. There's also an option to purchase a parking permit. Parking permits are cost quite a bit of money, but for some students it's worth it. So if you maybe have your field placement on campus or your class schedule is such that you are going to be on campus nearly every day, some students find that having a parking permit and being able to park close to where they need to be on campus is really valuable. And so that's an option as well. If you do not have a parking permit, there is metered parking on campus, including around the School of Social Work, where there's 2 or 4 hour parking that costs between $1.50 and $2.50 per hour. We also have parking garages, but parking spaces get quite full. And so that's why some of these other options make parking easy and quick and efficient, and so are sometimes better choices depending on students' needs and preferences.
Yeah, so housing can be a very big challenge, especially when you're new to a place that you don't know. However, here are some resources that students have used for housing. The graduates and family housing. This is a link that most students like will usually not use to search for their houses. And also the roommates finder is a great resource for like finding houses where sometimes students have like leasing available where they can find roommates that fit the very specific needs that they want for a specific roommates that they prefer to have. And with this website, you can actually like put in the correct preference of how and what kind of housing you're looking for. The off-campus housing is also another great resource. Craigslist is another one, but I would say Craigslist can be dicey sometimes. You have to be careful. Both Craigslist and Facebook, you have to be careful because even though you may find great housing listings over there, there are scammers there as well. So when you do not like give your money out to someone if you haven't seen their house yet or like signed the documents yet. So, but they are great resources for finding housing. Um, Other off-campus housing as well that I know of are the North Community Apartments, which are like which is like a housing option for like University of Michigan students around the North Campus area. These houses accommodate like these apartments in the Northwood area, like accommodates single graduate students, families, married students, and student couples. It is a community which typically offers apartment styles and living the various floors and plans of the apartments are like uh, catered towards students living. It includes studios and 1 to 3 bedrooms. So depending on what you want, you can have a studio, 2 bedroom, a 1 bedroom, or even 3 bedroom units. And I know that the Northwood apartments are usually furnished and some are unfurnished. So if you have your own furniture, you can also search for the ones that are not furnished. And then they also provide residential feel. They provide what is it, on-campus living type of things where it's convenient for you to like easily go to campus, like a bus that comes around that area. And also amenities that they feature includes Wi-Fi, community centers, they have laundry facilities, and they also have easy access to like go to the North Campus area. So if you're going to come to the School of Social Work, the North Campus won't be closer to you as compared to like if you're around the Central Campus area. But if you do the Northwood apartments, you probably have to take the buses in order for you to like get to the Central Campus, unless maybe you have a car or something. Another one, apartments, which is also known as the Munger Graduates Residence, which is also another housing option for graduates and professional students at the University of Michigan, which is also located on Central Campus. So that one is actually closer to the School of Social Work. And it also features comfortable furnished apartments with a range of floor plans, privates, and larger bedroom buildings, studio. They also have like units where you can share with other fellow graduate students. And also they have like great amenities, which includes study spaces, community kitchens. They have lounge areas, music practice rooms. So if you are someone who likes music, you have a place where you can practice that. They have fitness centers in that particular apartment complex. Other one that which is a place where like most students who are looking for affordable housing will opt for is the Ypsilanti housing places. So Ypsilanti, which is often referred to as Ipsy, is a city that is adjacent Ann Arbor. And it's an alternative housing for U of M students, particularly those who are looking for affordable cost of living. And so living in Ipsy may mean you have to commute, like it's a longer commute to U of M campuses, but there are public transportation options which are available, and many students find the trade-off worthwhile because they will wake up on time and like take the bus to be able to like get to the school and save some money on rent. So that is a good trade-off for them. And also, Ipsy is a very diverse community, and it has its own like vibrant culture. And there are so many restaurants and events that happens here in Ipsy. I live in Ipsy, so I like Ipsy. When you're exploring options, you should also always like visit potential residents, and if possible, you should review the lease agreements carefully before making the decision to like actually give your money out somewhere. So yeah. Next. Okay, yeah. So it is important to know some of the resources that we have available here at the University of Michigan. So once you start school, you will have some few days, which is like 10 days to log on to the Wolverine Access, where you will be able to like put in your new address when you find your place where you are living and you have an accommodation. You go into Wolverine Access to change your status and put in your new address. And also one important resource we have as students is the student legal services, which is important to know because this with the student legal services, you have access to legal advice and representations in certain cases, which could be a court case, and it can help you understand your rights and responsibilities under the law. Also with the student legal services, you can also have if you have landlord and tenant issues. So like let's say they can help you with housing disputes such as security deposit concerns, like you made a security deposit and you have issues with your landlord and things like that. They will help you out. They can help you also review your lease before you agree to the terms and conditions of it. And also these services can help you with criminal and traffic matters, like you're new to a new place, a new country, the traffic laws and things, maybe you're not used to it. So like this this service can assist you in traffic violations. Also, they can help you with personal legal matters, which may include things like small claims, actions, name changes, or maybe even creditor disputes. I know also that they can help you with notary services. So if you need something to be notarized for you, this is a great service for you to use. And it's usually free notary. Like if you are to go and do your notary somewhere at UPS or something, you probably will have to pay. But like if you utilize the service, it's usually free for students. They also offer like educational outreach, where they conduct workshops and things like that. And also they refer students. So let's say you send an issue to them and they are not able to help you resolve it. They can assist you or by making a reference for you, and they will refer you to other resources, legal resources that can help you out. However, it is important to know that there may be limited limitations to what they can help you with, and everything is case by case basis, and they typically do not address matters between University of Michigan's students due to potential conflict of interest. So like I said, they have limitations to the services they can offer to students, but you first have to reach out to them first and know what is there to be offered for you.
All right. Thanks, Francisca. So we're going to talk about some other resources for learning about what is available to you in Ann Arbor as you're getting prepared to come to a new city or a new country, potentially what's here to find out what you need to know. So the International Center website is another resource that is very, very thorough, has a lot of information on it for students who are coming to Ann Arbor for the first time, and especially coming from other countries. So their website that is linked here covers things like how to get a cell phone number or a SIM card, banking options, how to acquire a Michigan driver's license if you're interested in driving while you're here, what health insurance looks like in the US, what our childcare infrastructure looks like, as well as providing some social events. So the International Center hosts coffee hours and birthday celebrations and some sports, sort of pick up sports games sometimes. So there's a lot of opportunities there, both to get information, ask questions that you might have about life in Ann Arbor, as well as meet other international students and staff who are really knowledgeable about and interested in the international student experience. I think Katie mentioned that there's also an International Center summer orientation. The dates haven't been announced yet, but the link is there, and the dates will be announced soon as well, which is another great resource to get a lot of comprehensive information. A couple other pre-arrival resources. So there are virtual pre-departure orientations for new international students. This happens in June and July. The link to those orientations is on this slide. The International Center also features a pre-arrival guide. So this is like a booklet of information that you can browse, as well as an International Student Welcome booklet for things to know once you arrive. So there's plenty of information out there. Again, you are welcome to just explore the International Center website, but we wanted to pull out some specific links that might be especially applicable to you as graduate students. And then here's some additional links outside of the International Center for you to know about. So GRIN is one of our most maybe recommended organizations, student organizations. It stands for Graduate Rackham International, and it's a student-run organization providing support for all international graduate students at the University of Michigan. So it's not within the SSW, the School of Social Work. But this is another place to get information and resources about fellowships, scholarships, social and professional events, and really just to get to know other graduate international students and share about the graduate international student experience. Some other places to get involved socially at U of M. We do keep, there's a sort of webpage with all of our School of Social Work student organizations, and there are many. They tend to change because our students are only finish the program in between 1 and 2 years. They turn over pretty frequently. So we do have some school social work student organizations that have been running for many years. We have some that run for 1 or 2 years and then take a pause and then start back up again. So this is a place to explore what's out there. There's also the opportunity for students to start their own student organization within the school social work if they're interested. There's also the Center for Campus Involvement, which is a student-focused department that serves both undergraduate and graduate students throughout campus and provides student organization support as well. Maze Pages is a U of M page, again, for all University of Michigan student organizations that you can browse. It's kind of a database of student organizations. And then we have the University Musical Society hosts events at least monthly, sometimes more than once a month, that are fine arts performances. So I'm going to a University Musical Society event next Tuesday to go see Yo-Yo Ma is coming to perform at University of Michigan. So we get really incredible artists and performances that come through. We have a really, really rich music, theater, arts scene at the University of Michigan and within Ann Arbor. So definitely something to check out. And then athletics, if you don't know yet, you will find out very soon that University of Michigan is a big athletic school. So we have a football team that we are very excited and proud of, but we have a lot of other sports as well. We have an awesome softball team, we have great volleyball teams, just like a ton of sports. And so there are many opportunities all year round to go to athletic events. Students do have to pay for tickets, but depending on what sport you're interested in, there's a range of prices. So that is another way to get involved in campus life as well.
Yeah, so yeah, as you embark on your academic journey in the US, there are key things to keep in mind that will enhance your experience and success. So it is important to get to know other international students and domestic students. In the School of Social Work or any other place, building network with both international and domestic students can enrich your university experience. It could just bring diversity to your whole experience and your circle of support systems and cultural exchange. And also it can help you be able to like navigate the university life on campus and perhaps create a lifelong friendship. The reason why you would want to make both international and domestic friends is that uh, international friends, like you're just going to know more about other countries, what they are also doing, and what things that you don't know. And within the United States, since you're trying to like assimilate in the culture, the domestic students are the very ones that can like, help you out and also give you great advice on where to go and things to look out for and things like that. They can be great support systems. Um, as students, like, do not be afraid to reach out when you need support or anything. Adjusting to a new environment can be very, very challenging, and sometimes like seeking assistance or asking questions is expected. And it's also good to reach out to faculty, your fellow students, and any staff member. Don't hold back. Just ask questions, reach out to people. If you don't ask, you will never know. So it is very important for you to reach out. Also, be prepared to gain a lot of understanding of the American culture and policies in the US. So I also came into the US as an international student, and in my own experience, like understanding the local context and including social norms and the legal policies within the US can be very hard to navigate. So on a day-to-day life, and like I feel like things like visa status and things like that. Like it's very hard to navigate, especially since you are not used to the policies here and things like that. So be prepared for that. Get to know that this knowledge will help you be able to adapt more quickly and make informed decisions when the time comes. Also be open to learn about new cultures. Sometimes it's so easy for us to stay within our comfort zone to like just get used to the culture that we know and not be open to other new cultures. But like once you're here, you will be getting the American experience of things as well. So be open to learn about the American culture. You're going to be in the School of Social Work where there are diverse people. And so there are different cultures. It's not just American culture within the school. So be open to learn. One of the most enriching aspects of studying abroad is exposure to different cultures. And it's a great opportunity for you to embrace it and learn from others and also share your own culture with other people and grow from the experience outside of your own comfort zone. So it is something that you should be open to. Also, one thing to know, which was something new to me, was that I was very used to like taking exam after class and things like that. But getting to America and also looking at the academic system in the US, it's different from many international schools, which means that many courses here emphasize continuous assessments through projects, papers, and presentations rather than relying solely on exams. And so this approach encourages critical thinking, collaboration with students, and practical application of knowledge. So you'll be having to stand in front of class and present on a project that you've done. You will have the opportunity, instead of like learning the whole semester and taking an exam, an end of year exam or something like that, you'll be writing papers, reflection papers of what you've done and what you've learned in the class. So instead, it's going to be a lot of papers. So be prepared for that. Be prepared to work in groups. So it's not just going to be about you. You will have to engage with people, work with their schedule, and it can be rough sometimes when you're working with groups, but you will learn how to be able to work in groups and also learn how to schedule on people's time as well as on your time as well. So be prepared for that. The culture shock, you will be shocked several times. So it's a reality that it every international student experience. It's a normal part of adjusting to a new country. Recognize that it is a phase that includes learning to understand cultural cues, the customs that may be quite different from your own, and just be patient with yourself and maintain an open mind and actively seek to find your place within your new cultural environment. And remember that your time as an international student at U of M is not only an academic endeavor, but like it's a journey for you to discover new things. It's a journey for you to be shocked of things and to learn things and unlearn things and perhaps relearn what you already know, and also to embrace the challenges and opportunities that comes with this whole unique experience of learning from a different place. Yeah.
Thanks so much, Francisca. So one of the resources we just wanted to highlight to address many of the things, many of the tips that Francisca just touched on, to get acquainted with other students, to build your support network, to learn about the local culture or other cultures of our diverse student population, is called our Global Partner Program. So this is an optional program that we run at the Office of Global Activities. But if you are interested in signing up for it, we are committed to pairing every incoming international student who wants to be involved with either a second year US student or a second year international student. So taking incoming students and pairing them with a second year MSW student who's been here for a year. And so this has been a program that we started years ago, has been going for many years at this point, and is always one of my highlights of the fall semester. So we do a group outing together as a whole group, everyone who's decided to be involved with the program. And then the students who are paired, so the incoming student and the second year student who are paired, get together about once a month throughout the semester just to be a resource, get to know each other, have someone to take you around Ann Arbor or tell you where the best grocery store or the best place for ramen is, right? Just to have someone to ask questions about or talk about things that are confusing or shocking perhaps about life in Ann Arbor. And so our office will be emailing out probably just a little bit later this summer to give you information, more information about the Global Partner Program, and give you the opportunity to sign up for that if you would like. But we just wanted to give a little plug about it now because it really is. We've had a lot of really strong student comments about really, lifelong friendships that were formed through the Global Partner Program. And so it's a great way to get to know some of your fellow students and have some support while you're here. Okay, so that is what we have for the sort of formal presentation part today. Thank you for sticking with us. We know it's a lot of information, and I do want to remind you that you will be receiving the recording of this presentation as well as the slides with all of the links in it. So you will have this to refer back to throughout your time in Ann Arbor.